So I just watched a bunch of Ninja Turtles beat up a bunch of punk frogs. When will we stop all this green on green crime? Hi, I'm Andre and I'm a black nerd with another Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles episode recap. Turtle power. The Croaking brings the punk frogs to the Nickelodeon Ninja Turtles. So it starts off with Michelangelo watching another episode of Crognard the Barbarian, which I'm just loving that cartoon, by the way. But he messes up the house, the other turtles get mad at him, and Michelangelo this time is like, look, you guys have made fun of me in a number of episodes, and I don't appreciate it, especially when every single time I figured out that someone was evil and you didn't believe me, it was evil, and you don't treat me like this, I'm out. Mikey runs into the forest to get away from the other turtles, and he runs into Napoleon Bonafrog, who attacks him at first, and then they become friends. Napoleon Bonafrog is voiced by John Heder, and you may know him as the character Napoleon Dynamite. So yes, Napoleon Bonafrog is a frog version of Napoleon Dynamite. Nunchuck skills or bow staff skills, sweet, you guys are idiots. I'm glad in 2014 we can still appreciate a Napoleon Dynamite reference. It will never die, just like Borat and Austin Powers. He's nice, groovy, baby. Michelangelo gets taken back to Napoleon's frog fortress where he meets the other punk frogs, and they're more like the evil rulers that they were named after. And I love that this time they've made them pretty much parallels to the Ninja Turtles. Attila is the leader, just like Leonardo. Rasputin is the smart one, just like Donatello. Genghis is the mean, angry one, just like Raphael. And Napoleon is the screw-up, just like Michelangelo. I really love how they did the frogs. I love that they made them like Attila, Rasputin, Genghis. They gave them different looks, different personalities, because let's be real, when they had the punk frogs back in the 80s, I couldn't tell which one is which. I mean, seriously, look at this. Which one's Genghis? Tell me which one's Napoleon. Go for it. That's what I thought. Attila is just sitting on this throne. He kind of reminded me of, you remember Star Wars Episode 1 when Jar Jar Binks went back and they had the big boss and he was just like, Jar Jar. That's what Attila reminded me of, except he sounds like Marlon Brando from freaking Heart of Darkness, Apocalypse Now. The horror. I was like, man, it's references on top of references on top of references. And if that voice of Attila sounds familiar, and also the voice of Rasputin, that is done by Maurice LaMarche, a lot of you may know him as the voice of the brain of Pinky and the Brain, and Rob Paulson, who's currently voicing Donatello, was Pinky. Donatello, what we gonna do tonight? The same thing we do every night, Donatello. Try to take over the world. Actually, they were trying to take over the world. The frogs were like, look, we are tired of being everyone's pets. Now that we're mutated by this mutagen and we're strong, we are done with humans, we're gonna take it over. So now we're getting into freaking Rise of the Planet of the Apes, but with frogs. Michelangelo unfortunately tells them that he's with humans. They thought that he had him captive, so they go off to the farmhouse and beat the crap out of the humans and the other turtles because they sided with the enemy. They're human lovers. It became straight up race relations on Ninja Turtles right now. The frogs kidnap April and Casey and bring them back to their lair. The other turtles come back to fight them. They find Michelangelo. Napoleon's like, why are you doing this to their friends? Gosh, idiots. And once the frog's lair catches on fire, the turtles actually stop fighting the frogs and actually help them to get down. The frogs learn their lesson. They're like, look, maybe turtles and humans aren't bad for us frogs. We're gonna go down south and kind of chill out and get some gumbo. We cool now. Leaving the turtles and the frogs to be friends, particularly Michelangelo and Napoleon. One of the last scenes was the mutagen that the frogs had fell out of the tree when it exploded, landed on a road, and a car drove by and touched the mutagen. Ooh. One of the funniest gags in this episode, they go onto the computer and find out information about these frogs. They call the title of the article Invasion of the Punk Frogs, which was the title of the episode where the Punk Frogs premiered in the 80s Ninja Turtles cartoon. They have 3 sketch drawings of what they think the punk frogs look like. One of the sketches is of Napoleon, but the second sketch looks like one of the punk frogs from the 80s cartoon. And the third sketch is without a doubt a drawing of Michelangelo from the Ninja Turtles movie. The 2014 movie. It's just a mask, see? They drew him like he was one of the punk frogs. Genius reference to the new movie. I'm so glad they gave him just a little slap, just a little play slap. It wasn't mean, but you can tell it was a little bit of a little play slap. Also look at all the ads on the side of the website. Remember that meme that was going around of the news reporter talking about the guy that committed a crime? Police sketch of him looked just like the reporter. So they do that bit as well with Carlos Chang O'Brien, that guy. And there's also a shot of a guy going holla, 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 holla. I guess that's a Chappelle Show reference. Obviously I love this episode, love seeing the punk frogs, always loving them bringing classic characters into the new series and doing a little bit of difference with them. So what did you guys think of this episode of Ninja Turtles? Were you glad to see the Punk, Frogs, and what other classic characters we know Bebop and Rocksteady are coming, but who else would you like to see show up on Ninja Turtles? Thumbs up this video, and if you're new here, tickle that subscribe button. I love you like a play cousin. I'm Audi 5000. Chain Chomp. Gosh.